Okay, so we can sync this up. All right, this is my final lesson plans for the NGSS. I've never done lesson plans before. This is all kind of new to me, so bear with me here. I'm just going to give you a quick description and demo of how these would normally go. I did a two-part lesson. This is the first part. Here's my second one. Obviously, we had to do two of them. In reality, your lesson plans could involve a little bit more on this subject. I just did the two because that's what was asked, and I think I encapsulated most of the idea. A bit more lessons in here could probably make it a bit easier, but this is what I did. So I'm going to start off with kind of a demo of the first one. Obviously, it can all be read on here, but the first one is a quick lesson project, kind of a lab. You start the class off with 4 glasses, one of glass, one of plastic, one that's insulated, and one's insulated with a lid. And you put an ice cube in it. You get a temperature reading, kind of physical, just like not actually measuring it because that'd be hard to do on the exterior of glass just to see what it feels like at the beginning. The students will then start this. They'll write down what they think is going to happen, hypothesis, what it feels like in the beginning, make a sketch just as filler time. Then in the middle of the class, once they finish doing that, they're going to have to take what they've done, maybe watch videos, catch up on some work, give some class instruction. It really depends on what's going on during that school year. I'm assuming most of it would be used as instruction time to describe what makes a good insulator. Something I didn't necessarily outline in here. I just did mostly the lab in this lesson. What could be the filler time between the beginning of the lab to the end of the lab is up to what's happening at this point. So at the end of the lab, at the end of that day, after these have sat for maybe about 30 minutes or so, it's coming towards the end of class. So the last 10 minutes of class, the students will now fill out the end of the assignment. They'll once again fill the cup, see what's changed, see if any of them have ice, see if they all have ice, see how much ice is left, is there condensation. They list out everything they see. They write down why they think that happened, maybe what they learned about insulation and why some worked better than others. They answer a few questions and then they'll turn in the assignment at the end of the day. So nothing too crazy on this first assignment. Now maybe you take another assignment or two before you finally got to my second assignment. My second assignment is one that I remember quite well. I'm sure a lot of other people did it in school. Was making your own cooler and seeing how long an ice cube lasted. In this one, I think I did mine in 7th grade. I believe my sister did it too. I think she did it a little bit younger than me. But basically, here, what I'll show you on here. I made this handout of a cooler project. I kind of sketched all this up, came up with a few questions. Another thing that can be turned in and graded. But it's the parameters of you must make a little 6x6 cube is the max it can be, and you want to make a cooler. This would probably be best assigned on a Friday, so the students could have the weekend to work on it, bring it in Monday, put an ice cube in it, and during the class period, 24 hours later at the next class period, let's say on Tuesday, they would open it up and see whose ice lasts the longest. They can win a prize, bragging points, whatever. This is all hypothetical here, but this is kind of my second lesson. They take what they learned about insulation and thermodynamics and what absorbs heat best, what makes a good insulator, what doesn't, along with what their instruction was, and then they get to apply it themselves in a really fun DIY project. I remember it was tons of fun when I did it, and I thought I would make my attempt at making a lesson plan about it. And for both of these, the assessment at the end, well, obviously for this one, it's the worksheet and answering the last questions on them. And it can also be followed up with this worksheet and my final test, or my topic test, or the insulation review quiz, what I labeled it as. So basically, to sum everything up at the end of these lessons, whether it's just these two or if you add more in between, this is going to assess the student to see if they actually understand the material that was assigned to them. I remember doing it when I was in school, which wasn't too long ago. We always did a pre-test, and then we did a test at the end or quiz to see if we really absorbed the information to prove that we understood what the standards were asking of us. So I made a few questions. I didn't make answer key. Most of them you can probably read and understand. It's not super complicated stuff. Um, and that's just kind of like a quick rundown of what my lessons plans were. Um, a reflection of how it went. What did I like? I like the freedom of being able to make my own assignments. I took, like I said, some of the ones that I've done when I was in school, and it was kind of fun to recreate them and dissect what my teachers had to go through designing these lesson plans. It's obviously not an easy task. I've never done it before. This is kind of a first one, so definitely a learning experience. Probably could have been better, but I liked how it turned out. Um, I learned a lot. I learned that I never gave my teachers in school more credit than they should have been given. There's a lot that goes into developing these lesson plans, and it's something that I couldn't imagine having to do to plan out a whole year in your free time because you probably don't have enough time in your paid hours of your day to make these lesson plans. So you got to plan them all in your free time that you actually have. Maybe you take it home and do it. Come up with these lesson plans, make sure they make sense. Like fill up a whole hour's worth of time, whether that's enough or too much, and then keep the students hustling. And then even though maybe you're able to use this for like a year or two, the NGSS lessons and curriculum and standards could change, and you need to remake them all over again. So I mean, I'm sure it's a nightmare, especially because you got to work with your other teachers, because your next year teacher has to know what's expected of them. So you got to get them to that level so they can start where they need to be on their next year and understand everything from this year. Um, what would I do different? I definitely probably would use more resources provided to me. Um, I kind of reinvented the wheel here and did this all from scratch. I know you showed us a website of the NGSS standards, and I went back and looked at it. Hindsight, there was one that kind of had to do with installation of cups. I mean, lesson plans are, there's a lot of teachers out there, and there's a lot of lesson plans out there. They've already all done it once. There's going to be other teachers, I'm assuming, in the school that would be able to help me, or others on what's already been used and being able to recycle some of it. But I kind of did it all from scratch, and it's not that easy. I mean, again, giving teachers credit where I should, but don't reinvent the wheel and take what's given to you and apply it, because doing all this and coming up with tests and knowing what all the other teachers need, it's not an easy thing. But I hope you don't mind I did this in a video. I think it works the best. It helps me get my point across better, and it's not that long of a process. Maybe I think this is going to come out to be maybe like 10 minutes. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for teaching this year. Online wasn't too bad.